Now, let me ask you about your most famous memo, which is the October 16th, 2003 snowflake, in which you declare, we lack metrics to know if we are winning or losing the global war on terror. Is there any doubt in your mind, Mr. Secretary, that we're losing?
I can't justify my comment numerically, but there is no question but that we're losing. And the reason we're losing is because of the lack of leadership. That's the only reason. We have stepped back. We've said to the world that we're going to manage our economy like Greece or Europe, and that's a failed model. That means that we're telling the world we're not going to be, as a country, what we've been in past decades. Second, the defense investment of the United States has gone from 10% of GDP a year under Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Johnson, and today it's less than 4%, and they've have a sequestration that tells the world that the United States is economic situation or attitudinally is unwilling to make the kinds of investments that Eisenhower would talk about as peace through strength, where we would be unambiguously a deterrent, a dissuasion, just by our existence, and not by our actions, but by the very fact of that capability. It seems to me that is the biggest danger. We're telling Putin, in effect, that we don't like what he's doing in Ukraine, but oh golly, we'll try to figure out a way that maybe he won't do that. Europe is so dependent on Russian energy and oil that they are really pretty much out of the game at the present time with respect to Ukraine, and Ukraine's enormously important. Well, if you do what you're doing on your economy, you do what you're doing with respect to terrorism and ISIS and being ineffective, and then you do what you're doing with respect to Ukraine, well, I think the world is going to say, gee, we could do pretty much what we would want in the Baltics, for example, or in Central Asia, or in the Spratly Islands. The Chinese might want to increase their level of pressure there against their neighbors.
A last question. That's a dire situation. I know I'm pressing your time here, Mr. Secretary, but I do want to get a comment from you. Your old colleague in the war on terror, Rudy Giuliani's in a lot of controversy because he said the president does not love America. What's your reaction to his statement and to the kerfuffle around it?
Well, he's a good man, and he's certainly entitled to his views. I never studied psychology or that kind of stuff. I can't say whether somebody loves something or doesn't love something. But clearly his behavior is that he feels that the United States has in the past and is today behaves in a way that is unhelpful, and he blames us, our country, for some of the circumstances in the world that are adverse to the world's interests. Now, if one wants to characterize that as not loving the country, I don't know. I wouldn't myself, but I would say that he clearly, when he goes out and makes an apology tour, and when he has the press conferences he has and says what he says, we should get off our high horse, and he pretends that these are random acts, and he calls the Fort Hood a workplace violence. He's clearly in a state of serious denial. I mean, he can't be. Anyone in the world looking at what's going on knows that the way he is describing it is not accurate.
Secretary Rumsfeld is always bracing and great to speak with you. Thanks for spending time with us today. Donald Rumsfeld, twice the Secretary of Defense of the United States, and for 5 decades in the service of the United States. Thank you.